Okay, this is going to be the 3rd Maine Infantry at Gettysburg, Part 1. And on the first part here, we're going to talk about the 3rd Maine on July 2nd, 1863, at about 11 a.m. The 3rd Maine, in the morning of July 2nd, left their positions from the Union line, which is here. I'm standing here in Pitzer's Woods. And in front of us over here is heading eastbound across the Emmitsburg Road over toward the Peach Orchard and beyond, all the way back to the Round Tops. And early in the morning, about 11 a.m., the 3rd Maine sent as sharpshooters, along with Berdan's sharpshooters, came out into this area here of Pitzer's Woods on a reconnaissance to scope out the enemy, where they met heavy fire and were eventually forced back. But this is one of the braver actions where a Union infantry regiment, who wasn't a specific sharpshooter regiment like Berdan's were, went on a reconnaissance missions far beyond their own Union line, cutting themselves off from the rest of the army and supplies to go on a reconnaissance to scope out the enemy. And this happened at 11 o'clock in the morning here at Pitzer's Woods. Today we're going to talk about the 3rd Maine Infantry and their actions, not only here but also at the Peach Orchard, and then concerning a captain of one of their companies that was court-martialed in 1864 for an incident that happened here at Gettysburg. This has been the 3rd Maine Infantry, Part 1, on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Okay, we are standing here in the Sherfy's Peach Orchard, and this is going to be the 3rd Maine at Gettysburg, Part 2. As Longstreet began his assault from in the distance over there on the afternoon of July 2nd, 1863, the 3rd Maine was in this area of the Peach Orchard here, and they were being battered by heavy artillery fire. They remember the artillery fire in some of their diaries hitting the Wentz house, or the Wentz barn rather, near the corner over here where you see the fence just beyond. Now the regiment held their position until they got flanked by Wolford's brigade, which came through here, who were being held in reserve. So after Barksdale made his way through the Peach Orchard here, the 3rd Maine was flanked by Wolford's brigade, and Wolford's brigade, their left, skirted the Peach Orchard here. Now, Colonel Moses B. Lakeman of the 3rd Maine ordered a retreat, in which the regiment became scattered during that retreat, and its national colors had been captured, and there were many officers killed, including their major, Samuel P. Lee. Now, in their actions here, they brought 14 officers and 196 men to the battle, and after the battle, they had 113 total casualties, or 54%. So it was a huge amount of casualties. Now, one of the controversial stories that happened here was with Company F. They had a captain named Morgan, Captain William C. Morgan, who was captain of Company F of the 3rd Maine. He was born on March the 3rd, 1829 in Liverpool, England, and he served 5 years in the British Army from 1846 to 1851, at which time he immigrated to the United States, to the state of Maine, to the town of Augusta, where he became a printer with the Maine Farmer newspaper. Now, he was commissioned captain of Company F on September the 11th of 1861. He fought at the battles of Williamsburg, Virginia, Seven Pines, Virginia during the 7 Days Campaign. He was at 2nd Manassas, 1st Fredericksburg, and Chancellorsville before coming here. So he was battle tested. Morgan had one downside to him. He loved the bottle. He loved liquor. He had a reputation among his men of Company F to abuse liquor. Now, the regimental chaplain also stated that he indulged often in spirituous liquor pretty frequently. So a lot of the men began to show dissent toward him, and of course the chaplain showed dissent toward him. And it was also stated that here at the Battle of Gettysburg, he had hit the bottle pretty hard. And according to one private, Charles N. Maxwell, who wrote a letter to a friend after the Battle of Gettysburg, he sharply accused Morgan of being drunk here at Gettysburg and then laying on the ground. Some of his comments was, "He is a common drunkard, the worst of any of our regimental officers." Another was, "We will be glad to get rid of him." And a third was, "He has no courage unless he's full of liquor." Now at Gettysburg, the claim was by Maxwell that he laid on the ground, and when told his men after the retreat being ordered were being shot down, he would not rise. Well, the letter found its way to Moses Littlefield, who was the editor of the Skowhegan Clarion, a Maine newspaper, and it was published on January the 14th, 1864. A court-martial was ordered, and when men from the regiment began to take sides during this court-martial, the private Maxwell said that he was being told that if he had that letter published as it was, that he would have retaliation. The chaplain spoke out against Captain Morgan, as did several of the men. However, Moses Lakeman, the colonel of the regiment, stood up for them and said that he was a brave man and that he had never witnessed him not being able to perform under fire, as well as many other officers and men. This was a pretty split regiment down even lines as far as for or against Captain William C. Morgan. When the court-martial was finished, Lakeman was let off. His letter didn't cost him anything, and he requested a transfer, which he received to a different unit. And William C. Morgan was also acquitted. He served until he was killed at the Battle of North Anna on May the 23rd, 1864, as he was shot in the right breast. So the controversy was Captain William C. Morgan a good commanding officer? Was he a drunk? I guess we'll never know. The only thing we can know about Captain Morgan was that he gave his life for his country. He did die in battle, regardless of the accusations that were put against him. He continued to fight. He was acquitted in a legal court, and then he continued in service until being killed in battle at North Anna on May 23rd, 1864. The 3rd Maine, of course, retreated out of this action on July 2nd, and then on July 3rd had a very small role in the defense of Cemetery Ridge over here on July 3rd. This has been the 3rd Maine at Gettysburg, and the story of Captain William C. Morgan, Part 2 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook.